Hello and welcome back to my channel. This is Andy in Singapore. If you haven't done so, I'd like to remind you to remember to like and subscribe to my channel because I've got new videos uploaded every week just for you. In today's video, we are going to do a review of the Seiko Shogun. This is the current generation of Shogun, and by Shogun we mean that this is a full titanium dive watch. This latest generation of Shogun, they were launched back in 2020, and this model has actually gone under the radar. I think it's mainly because of the price of the watch, because the titanium built divers, they're not exactly the cheapest. And the watch in review today is the SPB191J1. This is the white dial version. There is a black dial version, which is the SPB189J1. Both these watches are on big discounts because I think Seiko is running a discount on the titanium Shogun. And at the time of this review, the Shoguns, they're going for around 1,200 Singapore dollars. And I think this is a big price off from the usual 1,600 or so Singapore dollars. You can definitely get this one from our boutique, and this is where the watch was loaned in from. So thank you very much, our boutique, for so kindly loaning me all these watches for my reviews. For this latest generation of Shogun divers, I would say they are the successors to this very popular SBDC 029. So that is also a full titanium diver, but we've got upgraded features such as sapphire glass, and we also have this updated 6R35 movement as opposed to the 6R15 found on the SBDC 029. But for some strange reason, Seiko has added this dreadful looking Cyclops onto these new Shoguns. And this is one thing I cannot accept. So it is no wonder why I've never taken interest in this model. I love titanium watches, but due to the Cyclops, I never once pay attention to these watches. But I guess this is a very good time to sit up and pay attention to the Shogun with this big discount going on. Now with the lens very slightly zoomed in, let me run you through the key specs of the Shogun SPB191J1. It's got a case size of 43.6mm, so it's not a very small watch. And with the crown guards as well as the crown included, left to right measurement is about 46.6mm. The overall thickness of the watch is about 13.1mm, measuring from the case back to the top of the flat sapphire crystal, which sits very slightly recessed to the bezel. We've got this 22mm standard Seiko diver lug width, and this watch is fitted on a really good looking Seiko silicone strap. I don't think I've seen this design before. The L to L measurement on the Shogun is 50.5mm. It's a really long L to L distance, but I think this watch doesn't wear overly big because there is a really nice curve to the mid case. Some measurements not found on Seiko's website. We've got a 42mm bezel, and the actual dial size here is about 32mm. As mentioned earlier, this latest generation of Shogun is powered by Seiko 6R35, so in terms of power reserve, it's definitely much higher than the outgoing 6R15. So I would say the upcharge, the price increase for this latest generation of Shogun, I think is justifiable. Now here comes the part which I feel could be the reason why the titanium Shogun is not very popular. So this is a titanium watch, but it doesn't really show much weight reduction. Alright, so I measured on my digital scale. This watch comes in at around 99.5 grams on the rubber strap. Now, I have my own Seiko Samurai. So this is the previous generation of Samurai, 2017 model. And this watch comes in at around 115 grams on the rubber strap. Well, we're looking at less than 20% weight reduction. So I think this could be the reason why the buyers are not willing to pay the upcharge. Typically, when you talk about titanium watches, I would think that people expect about 30 to 40% weight reduction, but we are talking about 99.5 versus 115 grams. Not much of a difference. So maybe that's the reason why the new Shoguns, they are not very popular. So let's move on and talk about the case design as well as the overall build quality of the Seiko Shogun SBDC 191. When I held this watch, when I unboxed this watch, I instantly felt that the watch is more well made than the rest of the 4R range of divers. Definitely feels like a more premium watch. We've got really defined brushing on the case sides, and we have really nice bevels along the length of the case. You can see the polished bevels, very subtle but really nicely executed. So I would say in terms of finishing, this is really nice work by Seiko. Casework here is definitely an improvement from, say, $500 to $600 range of Seiko watches. Even this two-tone titanium bezel feels really nice, feels very good. We have the usual Seiko soft clicks, but I dare say this clicking is more pronounced, more defined. Sounds more crisp. We also have this beveling inwards on the bottom of the case. And I guess this will ensure a really comfortable wearing experience on the watch. We also have titanium hardware on the rubber strap. You can see here it says titanium on the buckle. Pretty sure this is a titanium strap keeper as well, because it does feel a little bit lighter than the usual Seiko strap keeper. So overall, this watch, in terms of execution, I think is very well thought out by Seiko. Moving on to the dial as well as the colors found on this watch. For this version, the 191, it is a flat paper white dial. Now, to be honest, I usually prefer dark colored dials on diver watches. I love black, blue, sunburst, whatever, but in terms of flat white, it's not my thing, but I would say this is quite nicely done as well. We've got black borders on the shark tooth markers, and overall I think in terms of color combination, this is really nicely done. The handset found on the Shogun is rather unique. I think this is unique to the model, but the second hand here looks like it is a stock part. Must have seen this second hand before. If I'm not wrong, it is found on the Willard. So probably a case of Seiko recycling their parts. Chapter ring as well as the dial, they are done in the same shade of white. Overall, it gives a really clean look to this watch. Now the two-tone bezel here looks great as well, with a splash of black from 12 to 15 minutes. Sort of adds a bit of color to the stark white dial. And of course, I have to spend some time to talk about this Cyclops. I know when it comes to Cyclops, the less said, the better. From me, that is. But I seriously don't understand why Seiko has to add these things to their watches. Totally spoils the look. Highly unnecessary. So I'm not too sure if there are aftermarket mods to remove the Cyclops or change out this crystal. Let's check out the Lume on the Seiko Shogun. This is a Seiko Pro Specs diver, and you will not expect anything less than super bright Lume from Seiko Lume Bright Standard. Just check out how bright this is. I did charge this one under my studio lights for like 10 seconds, and I'm telling you, this is just fantastic work on the Lume by Seiko. For size comparison, of course, I'm going to bring in my own Samurai. I think these two watches, they are rather similar in terms of design. We've got 3 o'clock crowns, and even in terms of overall design, I think they are very similar. Of course, the Samurai looks more chiseled with all the hard angles, and the Shogun, we've got curves and really nice polished bevel. But in terms of size and looks, they are quite similar. Now, do bear in mind that the Shogun has got a much longer L to L distance, 50.5, and the Gen 2 Samurai, I think these are like 48mm L to L. So wearing experience is rather similar, but I would say that the Shogun feels just that bit lighter on the wrist. And here's the wrist shot of the Shogun on my 17cm wrist. You can see it wears really well. I would say there is a really small lug gap, but it's not so bad. Due to this really nice curve on the mid case, I think the strap gap is reduced to a minimum. Now to be honest, this strap is really nice, feels good. Slightly on the longer side of things, but I think still very bearable, still very manageable. Overall, the wearing experience on the Shogun, I would say, is fantastic. So there you have it. That was my review of the Seiko Shogun SPB191J1. Really nice watch, well built, and it's now going for a really good discount. Now it's a pity that they've included this horrible looking Cyclops. The moment I see a Cyclops on any watch, I would just forget about the watch. So your mileage may vary, so definitely this watch is not for me until I can make sure that I can modify this crystal to a non-Cyclops version. So this is Andy in Singapore. Please remember to subscribe to my channel and come back more often because I've got new videos uploaded every week just for you. I'll see you next week together with George and Pixie. Bye bye.